things escalate. Okay, we were talking about self-love, and now all of a sudden, stop looking for someone to rescue you.
Oh, wake up, rethink the status quo. When you get your money right, then you're the one who runs your life. Come build a wealthy spirit with Sammie and Michelle.
I feel like a theme in my life and in a lot of people's lives right now, possibly for a while, is uncertainty.
Ditto.
I don't know how other people are doing, but I'm not great with uncertainty. When things are uncertain, my instinct is to ramp up the control, the worry, the anxiety. And those things do not help, it turns out. So, Sammie and I want to talk about today a little bit of how we're thinking about dealing with uncertainty and looking at different ways to approach that.
Let's get into it.
But first, you know what's uncertain, Sammie? Flying in this country. I hope for the best when it comes to flying and plan for the worst. Which is why our partner for this episode, AirHelp, is so helpful. They have the knowledge, they will do the due diligence. If you give them your information, your flight, what happened, they can go and figure out, hey, is there compensation you're owed? Do you get something because you were put out? A lot of countries actually have rules in place that can help make sure airlines don't just cancel your flight on you. And so instead of having to become an expert on it, you can lean on someone like AirHelp. They'll figure out if you deserve any compensation, and they only charge you if they're actually able to do something. So check them out. Next time you fly, it could be very helpful for you. Back to today's topic, dealing with uncertainty.
Da-na-na.
Da-na-na. Not only did we want to talk about how we've been thinking about dealing with uncertainty, but I loved this piece we read, 7 Ways to Cope with Uncertainty by Christine Carter from Greater Good magazine that comes from Berkeley. We are going to pull some suggestions that she had that we really thought would be helpful in putting together our own uncertainty plan.
The first part of our uncertainty plan is listing what is under your influence and not under your influence. I got this from my good old parasocial friend, Stephen Covey, author of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That is one of my favorite books of all times, and it is definitely a book that transformed me. We incidentally read it in high school.
We incidentally ended up in a training specifically for the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens. We were doing it for points for something called Project Lead, and somehow ended up with the greatest influence of our young lives.
Hashtag nerd life.
Hashtag nerd life.
One of my big takeaways from Stephen Covey was that there are things in our lives that we can control, we can influence, and there are things that are irrelevant to us. He specifically talks about our circle of control, which includes our own behaviors, actions, reactions, words. Our circle of influence, which includes our family, our finances, our friends. This we have less control over, but some control over. And then our circle of concern, things we could worry about, but things we have no control over. The weather, wars, natural disasters. There's some degree to which we need to think about those things, but then for the most part, we need to leave them alone. So what I do when I'm feeling uncertainty is I make a list of what's on my plate and what's not on my plate.
I love that, Sammie.
Things that are on my plate might be focusing on my relationship with my family, or exercising regularly, or making sure that I get some of my PA certification questions done, something that's on my current to-do list. Things that are not on my plate are things that I'm worrying about that really don't matter right now. One for me is worrying about when I'm going to get a job or whether I'm going to get a job. That's actually not something I need to worry about right now. It's something that maybe I'll worry about later, but it's not today's problem. And by thinking about it, I'm actually wasting my time.
I love that, Sammie. I also find a list to be very helpful. For me, I actually just went through and listed out everything that's uncertain in my life. And I found that to be really helpful too. I think maybe a good pre-approach to the circle of control. Because when we do something like moving, I realized that I didn't have a lot of certainty in my life. I'm still getting used to Charleston. I'm still figuring things out. My career is freelancing. My work is very uncertain. It's a path that is very different and doesn't always have a clear, defined step-by-step process. My relationships are undefined right now. And so I think it was helpful to realize that there wasn't a lot of stuff in my control. There was a lot of stuff that was uncertain. There's a lot of stuff that's out of my control. For example, we're entering the worst hurricane season, apparently. That I can't even think about because...
Ever. Source would be Meat, our friend Nikki's husband. So hopefully that's not correct.
I mean, I did see it trending on Google. El Niños and whatnot.
Niño.
Anyway, the point is that it was helpful to just be like, okay, there's a lot of uncertainty in my life right now. Period. That's it.
Exactly. Maybe you've got Los Niños at home that you need to worry about, and El Niño is not your problem.
That's a good one.
Next, when it comes to reducing uncertainty, is investing in yourself.
I really like this example from the piece 7 Ways to Cope with Uncertainty because she highlights the difference between what you can do to invest in yourself and how there are different things you can do that are maybe like self-love or taking care of yourself. And I have found for myself that taking care of myself is really important because I would maybe ruminate and think about things and then skip meals or not exercise. And there are certain habits that if I put them in place, I can help not make something worse. I can take care of myself and make sure my cup is full.
I personally like to create a schedule.
There she is.
There's nothing like a schedule to help you deal with uncertainty because the schedule is certain to some degree. Obviously, things can change. But when you wake up in the morning, don't try to figure out what you're going to do for the day then. Because instead of thinking about what you actually want to get done, oftentimes we start thinking about all the uncertain things that we can't control. And that's when I go on Glassdoor and look up jobs for no reason at all.
But she does for fun now. It's like her Instagram. Which I support. You know, I'm wearing my Indeed shirt right now. But outside of that, actually, I have no purpose. I don't have any stocks vested in them.
She's biased.
I'm biased.
But the schedule is not. I get up in the morning, I make my coffee, I go exercise. Things are just listed that need to get done. And by the end of the day, I haven't had time to worry about uncertainty.
I will say, Sammie, you know me. I love a chaotic schedule. I love to just be able to do things whenever I feel like it. However, when everything else is uncertain, I really do like having a routine. Now that I know what workout places I like cycling, I like yoga, I like certain instructors.
We like Ride and Roll and James Island Yoga, our absolute favorites.
And I find that I can start to put together a schedule because it's so nice, like you said, to have a schedule in place. I don't have to suffer the paradox of choice every morning when other things feel so out of my control.
You know, you make a good point there. It's like paradox of choice comes up and then uncertainty just pops in there too. It's like I was trying to decide between am I going to work out or am I going to wash the dishes? And now I'm worried about El Niño.
And now I'm thinking to myself, maybe I should Google El Niño because what is that even mean?
3 hours later, nothing has been done.
Nothing has been done. I also love meditating, Sammie. I think that's a great part of investing in yourself because they say in the piece, don't believe everything that you think. And that's true. Meditating, being present, not ruminating constantly is so helpful. Whenever I get really stressful, let's say I'm dating somebody and they're causing me pain.
You're causing yourself pain.
So true. And also, it's not helpful to just sit and think about it. But if I don't stop and just clear my brain or let the feelings pass through me, I can get myself on a whole hamster wheel in my head. And so I find meditating, those type of things to be really helpful just to ground me and help me be more present.
And I, of course, use Byron Katie.
Byron Katieing.
See our previous episode on Byron Katie. When it comes to not believing everything that you think, there is nothing like a Byron Katie exercise to undo those thoughts. I also like doing a 10-minute meditation. I use the Insight meditation timer. And I don't just do a typical meditation because honestly, I lose focus in literally a minute. What I do is I set the 10-minute timer and I have it ding every minute. If you're around me, this might be annoying.
Bing!
And every time it bings, I write down what I was thinking. And then at the end, I take a look at the list to see if there's any patterns. Am I thinking about things that make me uncertain? What is plaguing my brain? So that way I can really focus on clearing those energies out.
I love what Christine Carter says in her piece. The opposite of uncertainty is not certainty, it's presence. Boom.
Boomsies.
And then things escalate. Okay, we were talking about self-love, and now all of a sudden, this point really hit home. Stop looking for someone to rescue you. In the piece, she says, when we take responsibility for our lives, we trade the false power of victimhood for the real power that comes from creating the life we want.
Dramatic.
I love it, because she is right. I notice this in myself. Something that I was stressed about is my housing for next year. My lease is literally like 7 months away. But I'm starting to think, do I need to find a different place? We have this nice apartment. I like it, but it's a 2-bedroom. Who am I going to live with? And then my friends, they'll be like, oh, maybe you could live with us. And I'm like, maybe I can force Sammie to sit down and re-sign a lease with us. What I realized was that's all bananas. I am the one who controls my fate. When time comes, I can put in plans to figure out my housing based off of the information that I have. But it is tempting. I just want someone to swoop in and be like, hey, here is the perfect place for you. Hold on, manifest that. Manifest a guide in my housing journey. Affordable, maybe even under market, beautiful, safe, not noisy. Manifesting it.
You're absolutely right, Michelle. That is bananas. In that, bananas are a sugary food disguised as something nutritious. Seems good for you, actually bad for you.
So true, Sam.
Specifically if you're us, because we have high propensity towards diabetes.
Don't make excuses for bananas. It's insanity how much sugar is in a banana these days.
There's so many species of bananas. 14 in the forest we were in Africa alone. So I don't want to just throw all bananas down the gutter, but we can't have them.
Look, the bananas you're getting at frickin' Kroger's, at Walmart, at
I know. How many names we need to call out.
My point is, those are not your mama's bananas, okay? Moving on.
Our last tip for uncertainty is finding meaning in the chaos. Maybe you're going through uncertainty like we are, and we think, this is not supposed to happen. This is not right. Wrong.
What is happening? What is life? What is the foundation when everything is uncertain? Wrong.
The truth is, whatever is happening is exactly what's supposed to be happening. As Byron Katie says, we are in Earth School. Everything that happens teaches us something. Teaches us about ourselves. Teaches us about other people. It teaches us how to accept and love the world around us so that we can be more resilient beings. More resilient and more loving beings as we move forward. So this uncertainty, it's not wrong. It's exactly right. It's exactly what's supposed to be happening.
I love the suggestion of finding meaning in chaos. I think that what I have really found is that just taking action, moving forward, having purpose in my life, having goals, it's actually really helpful because each step, each action really helps me feel like I'm building confidence, like I'm moving towards something, like I can make a difference in my life. And a lot of times I think that's what we crave. In these moments of uncertainty, we can feel like things are so out of our control because they are. But the truth is, everything is always out of our control. And the thing that is in control is the effect we have on others and the impact we're making in our lives.
Takeaways.
Takeaways for this episode.
There are strategies we can use to help overcome our uncertainty.
Make a list of what is under your influence and not under your influence. Think about Stephen Covey's circle of control.
Don't leave time for ruminating. Make a schedule.
Invest in yourself. Meditate. Be present. The opposite of uncertainty is not certainty, it's presence.
Take ownership. Do not be a victim. We have responsibilities that we should take action on in our lives. Focus on those ones.
Find meaning in the chaos. Life, as Morgan Housel says in his book, Same as Ever, is a cycle of calm, chaos, calm, chaos. Find the meaning in life. Find the meaning in the chaos. Because there are some things that are just inevitable. The only certain thing is uncertainty. Quote, here's the thing. Uncertainty is uncomfortable. It is uncertain. We know that it can be anxiety-provoking. It can be hard to know what you should focus on. And it's just so important with all of this to always have self-compassion and grace. Because we are just floating on a rock in the universe, trying to figure stuff out. And sometimes we don't have all the answers. And to be honest, that's okay.
Dust, cleaning dust. On a mound of dust, circling around dust, in a galaxy full of dust.
Stardust.
Community time!
We are recording this episode a bit early, and we wanted to say congratulations to our cousin Ben and Alcina, who got married this week.
We are so excited for them. We got to be at Ben and Alcina's engagement party in Michigan, which was so much fun. We got to see so many of our friends.
And family.
And family, and their family, and our friends' family. It's like, when you're in Michigan, it's a world tour of people that you know for us. And we really enjoyed it. Actually, I will say, when it comes to things like, say, uncertainty, one thing that I did really appreciate is being home and being around people that I grew up with. Just made me appreciate we all are going through things in life, and we all really relate to each other in a way that's really beautiful and special.
It's true, Michelle. Coming from a ginormous family is one of the biggest, craziest, chaotic blessings ever. And they're beautiful humans, and I'm always inspired by all of our family members.
Let us know. When we're talking about uncertainty, I do have a feeling based off what I've seen and felt in the world that there's a lot of people out there that's just feeling uncertainty. On a personal level, I'm talking about just things this year I think has been hard on people. If there's something you want to talk about or mention in our comment section or send us an email, buildawealthyspirit.com. We would love to hear from you. We're here for you.
And most importantly, be sure to join us next time as we put down the rulebook and we rethink the status quo.